From NBC News, this is Today.
Before we begin, I would like to introduce today's panelists. We have Nicholas Kristof here from the New York Times. Amy Katz, political science professor at Georgetown. Suzanne Smith, a former policy advisor under Obama. And Sean Hannity of Fox News. Welcome, everyone. After an extremely unconventional campaign and undoubtedly tumultuous first term, at this point in his presidency, Donald Trump's approval rating sits at an all-time low of 39% after his first year. Trump's detractors have derided him as racist, corrupt, dishonest, and potentially undemocratic. His supporters wonder what all the fuss is about. They point to an improving American economy and a booming stock market, which they credit to Trump's tax cuts and deregulation policies. Are our daily reports of dysfunction and doom a sign of dangerous and unprecedented threat to the American system, or fake news generated to fill previously unimagined demands of the 24-hour news cycle? Is the Trump presidency a departure from the norm? What, in his 16 months in the Oval Office, has Trump done that is seriously different than any previous president? Let's hear your insight. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks for having me, Sophie. It's a pleasure to be here. I think it's impossible to deny that Trump is unlike any other president we've had. For starters, he's certainly the least prepared in the respect that he's never held any public office or served in the military. Well, Sophie, I know this may be on the most basic level. I do not think Trump expected to win, and when he met the responsibilities of the White House, he was intellectually and emotionally unprepared. He's running a reality TV show, in my opinion. His tweets are inflammatory. He is alienating our allies, threatening to derail the economic recovery that Obama started with his tariffs.
Suzanne, you make your argument about how far out of the norm Donald Trump is by criticizing him for being dishonest or corrupt, but Barack Obama allowed Hillary Clinton to establish a criminal operation in the State Department and then cover it up with her cronies in the FBI. None of the left-wing media minded so much when Obama was using the IRS to investigate his political opponent. But now Donald Trump is the worst threat to democracy our country has ever seen. Just because you don't agree with his policies doesn't make him any different from the people that came before him. He's acting on exactly what he said he would in his campaign.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here, by the way, Sophie. Stylistically, Trump is certainly unusual, but let's focus on his policies. Trump ran a divisive, undemocratic, and racist campaign that gave rise to correspondingly repugnant policies. I believe objectively that Donald Trump's administration has introduced the most racist policies in the modern era. I think it's fair to say that previous presidents have had more respect for civil rights and democracy than Trump. The trial ban is an all-out assault on what it means to be an American. The fact that Trump focused his attention on the threat of 7 arbitrarily chosen Muslim countries while simultaneously minimizing the threat of homegrown, often white supremacist shooters who are responsible for more deaths on American soil since the president stepped into office clearly displays a racial bias we would have previously thought to be unacceptable in an American presidency.
Let's go back to the question at hand. Katz, let's hear your perspective.
If the question we are asking is whether or not Trump is outside the norm of the American presidency, then the fact that he's enacting racist policy, while debatedly true, doesn't qualify to set him outside of the norm. FDR put Japanese American citizens in POW camps during World War II. Never mind the history of Native Americans or African Americans, which took place under successive presidencies. We have had presidents owning their own slaves. It seems like everybody is debating the question of whether or not Trump is the worst president of all time or the best. And truly, that's not the question at hand. I think he's unique in one sense, however. He's the only candidate that I can think of that was elected without the support of either the Democratic or Republican Party.
America wanted an outsider and elected one. Maybe we need an outsider to get anything done in modern Washington. In another year, if he has brokered a compromise on immigration and gun control, both of which were long overdue, he will be rightly hailed. The fact that his approval ratings are extremely low does not make him any different either. While media visibility and social media have given citizens an outlet to express their discontent with Trump more publicly, there have been other far more dislikable presidents, such as Buchanan. The media influences us to feel like he has an overwhelming amount of critics, yet in reality, past presidents have received similarly low ratings.
And Katz, regarding your comment about FDR, let us remember that he is recognized as one of the most untraditional and radical presidents of American history.
But the very fact that a president with such extreme policy and personality as FDR existed confirms the fact that Trump is not an anomaly. FDR's administration reshaped the traditional political alignments in America, as did Andrew Jackson's, as may Donald Trump's. But political realignment is not qualified as unprecedented either.
That sounds like a good point, Katz. A new political coalition does not necessarily imply some unprecedented executive character. Christoph, you were talking earlier about democratic norms in relation to Trump. Could you expand on that?
I have never seen the White House simultaneously at war with the press, the courts, and indeed his own security apparatus. Trump has attacked the credibility of the FBI and the CIA, where he feels their conclusions disrupt his political narrative. This also goes in line with some points made in a recent article published in the New York Times, in which I interviewed 2 political scientists, and of the 4 aspects of an undemocratic or non-traditional president, such as 2 of them included violations of civil liberties and obstruction of the media. And I think these are 2 very prevalent aspects of Trump's presidency, as he has continuously attacked the media with his assaults on institutions such as the New York Times, reputable institutions, claiming that they are, quote, fake news.
Exactly, Christoph. Try and name another president who did that, Miss Katz. He has disregarded and degraded opinions of the court. What other president has such little regard for the rule of law and separations of powers, all in an attempt to cover up whatever went on with Russia in 2016 that Trump still doesn't acknowledge happened?
FDR packed the courts. Nixon threatened the press. Clinton was under investigation for perjury and business irregularities, not to mention his other indiscretions with Monica Lewinsky. I still see nothing unprecedented about his presidency aside from his ability to fulfill his campaign promises. What other president has done that?
He currently doesn't have the respect from either party, and there is no indication that he will be able to draft legislation that could unify our divided country. All he has done thus far is pass a tax bill that is basically a declaration of war on the blue states. He has divided us further rather than unify us. He has systematically undone all the progress made under Obama's administration.
Suzanne, to me, that's exactly what makes Trump similar to past presidents. You say he has undone progress made under Obama's administration. Isn't that the same trend we've recognized throughout all of our presidencies? The pendulum swing. Someone comes in and enacts one thing, and the next president rewrites it and repeals everything passed. That is the very essence of our election and executive system. Everything in essence is temporary. Obama makes gun restriction, Trump rolls back. Obama protects dreamers and immigrants, Trump cracks down. While Trump's policy and proceedings may be disagreeable to many, by no means are they different. Obama rewrote everything under Bush, Bush under Clinton, Clinton of George H.W. Bush, and so on and so forth.
Interesting arguments made by everyone. The question remains, does Trump's extremity qualify him as an anomaly, or has media presence solely allowed us to perceive this? Is Trump just a creature of his time? Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time as we discuss whether Brian Katz overuses his phone or not. We'll be inviting world-renowned public debater Jacob Q to go head-to-head with Yale graduate Neil Somey. Head to our website to see a video of Suzanne Cameraman yelling at Jared.
And live from New York, it's Saturday night!
I had no idea what I was saying. I was screaming in the back. I don't agree with. What am I doing with my hands?
Summer's like, I hate dogs.
Should I check it?
Yeah.
I'm the only dog that
Just because you don't agree with his policy doesn't make him any different from his predecessors.
Oh my god, I thought that was actually dog.
You're good at it.
I know.
Motion and doom, a sign of dangers.
Suzanne, you make your argument about how far out of the norm Donald Trump is by criticizing him for making this. Any different from his predecessor? Oh my God.
Like behind.
Come on.
3, 2, 1.
No, don't count me down. Oh my god.
No, you cannot talk like that. You cannot.
I got a condo in Manhattan. Baby, go what's up?
It's way too